Back on the Peter King podcast. Happy to be joined. We got an interesting podcast today. We're at Los Angeles Chargers training camp. See, I almost did the sound. We're at Los Angeles Chargers training camp. I'm with Philip Rivers. We have a nice crowd of Philip Rivers fans here in Orange County. And Philip, you had your annual contest with Drew Brees out on the field. You got to explain what that contest means, how it started, and what exactly it is.
Well, we are at training camp. The fans have been great all camp here at the Jack Hammett Sports Complex here in Costa Mesa. So it's been a good camp. The quarterback challenge with the Saints, it kind of got started. This is now the third year. Drew and those guys have done it, and they've put it on their Instagram and on their website. And so we've always done it, but just hadn't really publicized it. Hadn't done it to that degree. So when he was coming out, I said, hey, we got to have a quarterback challenge. So we started a couple years ago. Now it's kind of taken on a whole new
And it's
life.
really like the old, quarterback challenge that they used to do at the Pro Bowl,
yeah,
right?
It is kind of throwback, and everybody's involved, both QB rooms from both teams, and so it tied up at 1-1. So the grudge match will be tomorrow after walkthrough.
Wow. Who won today?
They got us today. We got them yesterday, and
Come on, it's Drew Brees. How can you hate Drew Brees? Come on.
They got us today. Drew hit one on his last throw to win it. So
Yeah.
It was fun, though.
Philip, let's talk a little bit about where you guys are right now. I find it really interesting that you've got a lot of young guys on this team, a lot of really good young players, and yet you're really one of the most veteran teams in terms of the guys who you have to rely on all the time, starting with you. What does this team look like to you in this training camp?
Yeah, I think you said it well. I mean, we got a lot of young guys that are really good players, and then you sprinkle in key veterans in every position group. I'll leave somebody out, but when you go around, you think about adding a Thomas Davis. You had Pouncey at center last year, Brandon Mebane in the interior line. Casey Hayward's a veteran DB, and I could go on and on offensively. Keenan's, to me, a veteran player in his 7th, 8th year. Melvin Ingram. So, and then you throw in the young guys, the Derwin James, Joey Bosa's, and all those guys that, depending on Melvin Gordon when we get him back, and Mike Williams. So everybody's important. Those are the guys that I know you're referring to, and it's a nice mix of young and old. And I think we're in a window here that we have a chance, and we know you got to get in to have a chance. It starts in the division and all those things, but we're in a nice little window here, much like the window we were in 06 to 09, where we gave ourselves a chance every year. Probably should have won two and didn't, but I think we're kind of in that window to make a run at it again.
What do you remember about your feelings when you walked off the field in Foxborough last January?
It was about as disappointed. I mean, you're disappointed after every loss. I think emotional. I was a little more emotional after that one because I just really to get back in the postseason again, and then as well as we played on the road. We won every game on the road all year. I thought we were going to win the whole deal last year. I thought last year was the year, and to lose in the way we lost was just you felt so dejected, So because you know how long it is to get back to that point, it's a whole another year, and you're not guaranteed to get in. So it was tough, but I think for our football team to win close games again in Pittsburgh, in Kansas City, win a playoff game, we got some things done together that we had not done with this group. So I think that's a valuable experience for us moving forward.
The mantra you live by is this Latin phrase called Nunc Cepi, now I begin. And it strikes me that you must have to think about that every year at this time.
Yeah, I do. I mean, I think about it every year. This time, I think about it after a terrible interception, begin again. After a touchdown, you begin again, and we use it at home. As a dad, our family, I tell our children that all the time. So,
how do you do it with your family? What do you say?
Well, I just think it's one of those things. Whether it's you do good or bad on a test, or you make a mistake, or anything that goes on, you begin again. You're always beginning again, and. It's something that struck me years ago, and it was helpful to me because you always hear about finish, but how about just start again? And you're constantly doing that, and really in everything. For me, in my faith, in my parenting, you're beginning again everything you do.
Oh, yeah.
So when you look at right now the way the league is, I was with Pete Carroll yesterday, and he's 67. Tom Brady's 42, you're 37. When I think about you, I think about a guy who, if you want to, easily could play 4 or 5 more years. What has happened to change the sort of the demographic in football that allows people like you to play for so much longer, to allow Tom Brady to win a Super Bowl in his 42nd year on the planet?
Well, I think it's a combination of a lot of things. I mean, I think when you're speaking of Tom Brady, Drew Brees, they're both doing it in their 40s. They're unique guys. I mean, they are two of the best in their position of all time. But I do think the game, both the rules help a little bit, and I think
you mean in not getting beat up.
Yeah, I think they protect us a little better. Obviously, they did 20 years ago, and I think the game schematically, with what's required at our position, it's almost more the neck up. If you can process quickly and be accurate with the ball and get it out of your hand to all these skill players that we have all around us, then you can play for a long time. And that's what those guys have proven to do it at the best, very best. And I think that's, I think it's the league's going to where they want you to be able to run and throw. And if you can do both, then those are going to be the most dangerous. A guy like Carson Wentz comes to mind, those guys that can really run and throw it. But I still think it comes down to 3rd and 8. Can you convert 3rd and 6, 3rd and 5 from the pocket with guys like Von Miller and Khalil Mack and these guys rushing you? It doesn't matter how well you run; they're going to get you. So you got to be able to sit in the pocket and make a throw.
We've talked about this a couple of times, but I always kind of admire how you don't sit there and wring your hands and say, "Man, I haven't won a Super Bowl." It's like I'm reminded of Jim Kelly. After his 4th AFC championship loss, I said, the pain must be pretty bad. I mean, have you ever thought about, doing something else or maybe not playing? Is it that frustrating? He goes, are you crazy? I mean, what else would I do that I would have 1/10 the amount of fun as what I'm doing right now? So how do you sort of cope with all that? And do you feel like maybe in a society of winning is the only thing that we overplay that?
Yeah, I think it can be. It's really hard to explain, and I think it can be. If you just read me saying this, you'd say, golly, maybe he doesn't care, But I think that I hate losing as bad as anyone. I love to compete, and yes, we want to. I still think about those games in 06 and 7 and 9, and when we let them get away. But they don't make me miserable. I mean, they really don't. I had a coach tell me once, John Ramsdale, when this must have been 2006 or 7. He said, if your whole happiness is based on whether you win a Super Bowl or not, then you got a chance to be a miserable person, And so he suggested not let everything ride on that. And so I don't, although I want it really bad for us, for everyone, And so but I'm not gonna. If we fall short. If I'm able to live to 50 and 60 and 70, I won't be a less happy person. At that point, it will be. There's times you'll be frustrated, and I'll go, I can't believe we didn't get this and this and this done. But it's not going to be what I live and die by.
With Phillip Rivers at Chargers training camp, Phillip, I thought one of the coolest things last year was when ESPN had you mic'd up. And it showed how angry you get on the field, and yet you never swear. You never curse. So I want to ask you a two-part question. When is the last time you cursed? And secondly, do you ever really want to curse?
Well, I don't want to say this arrogantly. I can't remember the last time, but I can't say 100% that I've never in my entire life. But it's just a habit. I mean, it's a habit. I mean, it's just from early on. That's just the way I've spoken. No, I think I get it. As mad as I get, what you
can get your frustrations out.
What you hear is about as what comes to mind is about as mad as I am. So I don't ever think, man, I wish I could be even more. I wish I could say something else. That's about it. So yeah. That's the peak of my anger.
The peak of your peak. Two other things. I wonder, so we were in Miami Dolphins training camp, and I was talking to Ryan Fitzpatrick, and he had his 7th child, and I said to him, do you think you'll ever catch Phillip Rivers? And here is his quote. He said, I texted him, and I told him, I can't catch you if you keep having them. So, I want to know, what is it like having Swiss Family Robinson around the Rivers household?
It's awesome. I don't know if he'll catch us or not. Because I don't know. I don't know where we're going to end up. But
is it possible you could go into double figures?
oh yeah. That's just one. We're just one away. We're just one away. But yeah, it's awesome. I really feel very thankful and blessed. My oldest is 17 now, and the little one's 5 months old. But it's 7 girls and 2 boys. But it's awesome. So there's never a dull moment at the house. That's for sure. There's always a ball flying in the air, or somebody on rollerblades or bicycle, or something going on. So there's a lot of joy and noise and a lot going on.
How did you and your wife decide that you wanted to have not just a big family, but a very big family?
I think we both want to be open. Both want to be open to whatever God wanted for us. And my mom was one of 9, 7 girls and 2 boys, and my granddad, her dad, was one of 9, 7 girls and 2 boys. So it's the third.
That's
generation
amazing.
Of 7 to 2. I remember we found out my granddad on my mom's side is 91 years old, and I remember we found out. You never know at 91, right? And so I wanted to tell him, hey, we're gonna have 9 just like you. And when I called him, he said, well, you don't need to find out what it is. I can guarantee it's a girl. It's going to be 7 and 2. It turned out to be right.
Are you the type that doesn't want to know?
No, I like to know.
Oh, you like to know.
I feel like I know them better if I know if it's a boy or a girl. I feel like I get to know them over that 9 months a little better than just going, we don't know yet. We've done it both. I like to know.
What is it like around the Phillip Rivers dinner table when you have perfect attendance and you got 11 people there?
It's great. We try to, every Wednesday and Thursday night in the season, we try to sit down together, and it's awesome. I mean, it's a little old school that I'm at the end of the table, and I kind of instigate the conversations and single them out and let see what happened in the day, and hey, it's Sarah's turn now, and okay, now you go, and just so it doesn't get too crazy, and then it ends up kind of let it go haywire at the end, and then cleanup time is always fun. You got the table, you got the dishes, and we got plenty of helpers, so it gets done pretty quick.
Finishing up with Phillip Rivers, Phillip, I took a tour of your new stadium in Los Angeles this morning. And first of all, it's big. It's like really big. The campus is monumentally big. But the one thing I thought was really cool, I was in your locker room, and there's a lightning bolt in there, in the locker room. And I wonder, when you look at it and when you think about it, this is going to be a shared stadium. And I'm assuming you're going to be playing next year, but it's going to be a shared stadium. What do you think you guys have to do to make that stadium a real home field advantage for you?
Well, I think win. I mean, winning is the biggest thing, and I think this year's big. And we're not thinking about that as players, but I do think that this season will kind of help kickstart us being in that new stadium next year. And I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to this season first. That's far away, but I haven't been in it. I've seen the pictures of it, and it looks unbelievable. So when that time comes, we'll be fired up to be in there.
And have you thought of, ideal world, how much longer you think you'll play?
I really honestly can say at this point, I think it's just I'm taking them 1 year at a time. I think that's just the prudent, best thing to do mentally, not to say, all right, I got 3 left, I got 4 left.
You're 38 in December, right?
38 in December. I think.
What do you feel like right now physically?
I'm fired up. I know that I want to be in that new stadium next year. But I think 1 year at a time. I feel great physically. I really do feel great physically. I'm also, and maybe this is rare for a lot of guys, I'm also not afraid of the next phase. I look forward to coaching my boys in high school, and my oldest is just a 5th grader, so we got a little time. So I'm excited about that part. It's not, I don't know what I'm going to do when it's over. I go, shoot, I'm going to be on the sidelines trying to get these 15 to 18-year-old boys, find a way to beat the team across town. So I'm fired up for that part. So that doesn't make me nervous about it, but I just kind of take them 1 year at a time.
It's kind of interesting. Have you followed what Trent Dilfer is doing?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a high school coach now
awesome.
in Tennessee.
Yeah.
That's really good. Do you think you would want to be a high school coach?
Oh, yeah. I think at least my desire is to be coaching the very next year that I'm not playing somewhere. Yeah. So you got to have a few years to get in there, or a year or so before Gunner's a junior in high school. We got to be in the mix.
Do we have, we're going to ask some in the crowd to ask like 3 questions for you. So go ahead. Can you just please say your name, where you're from, and then ask Philip the question?
My name's Dane. I'm actually from Florida, Fort Lauderdale. So since I moved here, I'm a Chargers fan, but now I've been a Dolphins fan. But good to meet you, Philip. I had a question for you. Which newcomer this year do you think is going to have the biggest impact on the team?
Question is, which newcomer, which new Charger is going to have the biggest impact on your team?
All right, thanks for the question, Dane. I don't know. It's still early. You know, obviously, first-round draft pick Jerry Tillery's now in the mix, and he's shown some good flashes out here in training camp. Drew Tranquil, also from Notre Dame, is flying around and around the ball. Those are young guys that first popped in my mind when you asked. But I think a newcomer that's an old comer is Thomas Davis. You know, from Carolina. He. It's unbelievable. He's played linebacker now. He's in his 15th season, and he played linebacker for 15 years. He can still run. He still has a great passion. He's been great for the guys. We already have a good, strong leadership group defensively, but he's really brought it to another level, and it's been great to have him be a part of the squad.
Over here.
My name's Weston. My question is, if you weren't a Charger, where would you be right now?
The question is, if you weren't a Charger, where would you be right now?
I don't know. I mean, you meaning another team? Gosh, that's hard to say now. After being in this long, I really don't think I could do it anywhere else. Growing up in North Alabama, the Titans weren't there yet when I was young. It was still the Houston Oilers. So the closest team was the Falcons. I actually pulled for the Steelers a little bit, but I was more of a quarterback fan. So, I had Marino and Elway and Montana and Aikman and Favre and Manning. All those guys were on my wall growing up. So I was more of an NFL quarterback fan and a college football fan. So if that kind of answers your question.
Yeah. Can I just interject one thing? I think maybe the other answer to the question would be, if that trade didn't quite work out the way it did, I kind of think he would have been drafted by Pittsburgh. So that would have been interesting. But go ahead, Dom.
Hi, my name is Matt from San Diego. My question, Philip. Great to meet you, by the way. My question is, you've been our leader and captain for so long. What's one leadership lesson that you've learned playing in the NFL regarding your faith that you can pass on to us?
The question is, what is a good leadership lesson involving your faith that you've learned in playing in the NFL?
Well, I mean, I don't know if this directly translates to faith, but it does. But I think the biggest thing is just how in a leadership position, how you handle adversity is way more meaningful and critical than how you handle when things are going good. I've always thought, you find out about your true teammates when it gets a little rough. When things are going good, right? Everybody's a good teammate, everything's great, everybody wants to work hard, everybody's fun in the locker room. What about when you throw an interception for a touchdown, which I've done plenty of times, and you lose a game late, and especially when you're in my position, you're going to be touching the football again every week, and you're going to want them to count on you. It's how do you handle that adversity and know they're watching you, and the ability to, and it comes over time. I can't say I'm an expert at it, but it comes over time to where you go, you don't have to tell these guys you care. I think that's sometimes you think, well, hey, I hope y'all know I really didn't want to throw that, and I really care, and I'm really sorry we lost. No, they can see you do it. What do you do on Monday morning and Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, just by the way you go. And sometimes it means come out with energy on a Wednesday after you've blown a game on a Sunday and have some excitement. Here we go, let's go. And they go, wait a minute, didn't he just cost us the game? Oh, but if he's fired up, then we'll go too. So I think, but that comes over time, because as a young player, I remember thinking, man, just wanting to hide, like feeling terrible for letting the guys down. And you still feel bad, but you know that you need to give them the okay to, come on, let's go. Everything's going to be all right. And I think that does apply in other parts of your life as well.
We'll end on that. Philip Rivers, thanks so much and have a great season.
Thanks,
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.